Hey guys, this is Dynaco Dr. D again. And I had, there were a few subscribers that had requested or asked about how I do these plinths. Plinths are basically hardwood bases, they can be anything. But generally for what I'm doing in the context of this particular discussion is making wooden or hardwood plinths for audio gear. And I've done woodwork, craftsman work for many, many years, for over 30 years. And this here is just an example of a plinth for an Audio-Technica turntable that you just saw there. And all I do is I 45 these edges right here. You'll see it's just little ends here. And the back is completely open, so you have access to all the, wiring and RCAs, etc. And generally when you're doing it, you want to match the grains around the corners, and I'll show you. I'm going to do this video in two parts. There's too many to show you at one time, and I have them in different rooms. So to make this work, you just simply drop it over the top of your turntable, and there it is. And it looks totally different. Just that simple. This next one that you see here is the one that you see in all my videos. It looks like trash inside. It's just paint. I could care less. You're not going to see it. This is the plinth that I made for the Deckwear Zen, and that's what the Zen looks like without it. But you always see it with this. You'll see the edges here are also 45'd, and there's little jewelry box feet on the bottom. And whenever you see it, it's kind of a mess on the bottom, you'll notice there's actually felt on all the feet. So if you see these things sitting on one of my speakers like the Allen Eaton's that I'm going to show you in the next video, you don't have to worry. The feet are not going to scratch the top of the speakers. I have felt tips on here, and they slide beautifully, and they don't cause any issues with the furniture downstairs or the speakers. But that's it. And then I had to add this strip on here because the wood just didn't come that way. The way that the holes are lined up, you're probably like, how do you measure or get the hole to match exactly? And you have to be careful with that because you don't know how deep the feet are underneath here, because underneath these things are little feet. See those rubber feet? So in order to make this function, to make this work, I actually have to take the amp. So I'm going to put it in here. Watch this. I'm going to take the amp and drop it inside there. I'm going to slide it forward. Give me a second here. Boom. And I'm going to push it down to there, and now it's inside the plinth. It's heavy, this little amp. And you'll see the knob is lined up perfectly with that hole. Well, the way this was originally done, and the way I do this, and the way you can do it if you want to make one of these yourself, is you take the volume knob off, and underneath there's a piece of round metal, and what you do is you take some water-based paint, and you dab water-based paint on the tip of the metal underneath this knob. And what you do is you put it inside the plinth, and you push it against the inner side of this, and it leaves a mark. And I know precisely where I need to drill the hole to make it match. Now, you probably think, why don't you go in business and make these for other Zens? Well, it depends, because I don't know if Deckwear is going to be using the same feet, so the measurements may be different, and who knows. And I got so much stuff on my plate, I wouldn't go and doing these things for a living anyway. This here is another one, and this one is made of poplar wood. And you're like, what is, poplar is a very inexpensive wood. It's a very dense hardwood. And this was designed for the Dynaco pass that you see here. So the pass will slide directly inside this thing, and it gives it kind of an elegant look. You'll see that the tops or the edges here are mitered at 45 degrees on the table saw. You'll also notice the wood grains, and one of the things that wood craftsmen look at when wood is being done is to make sure that the grains are matched. So when they're carried over, you'll see how the grains are carried over there, and then on the other side, you'll see they're matched here as well. On the bottom, it's not going to be the case. One of them is going to be off, and this is where it ends. The entire thing is made with one strip of wood, and this one matches here. But this one here won't match. This one does not match. That's the only one. But you don't see it, so it doesn't matter. And that's how that looks. The next one here is the Dynaco ST120. This is nothing more than a wood plinth. They got felt feet, the jewelry feet on the bottom. And the Dynaco slips directly inside. It was a little difficult to get this inside here, but you see there's an opening for the fuse, the on and off switch, and the AC power cord. You'll see there's a cut opening here on this one for all the power cable, or the RCA cables, and the speaker cables. So you'll see this is just a piece of trim, and it's about 4.5 inches in height. And the edges are all 45, and the grains are also matched. Now, this one you can't really tell, so it really doesn't matter which way you put it. But generally, I match all the grains, so I'm using one piece when I do it. And this thing I can knock out in a day, you know. It's just, you gotta glue it, you gotta wait for it, you gotta tape it. There's no nails, there's nothing used, it's all glued together. I ran a business for many, many years, building cases for a different industry, and building boxes is just one of the things I do. And, you know, it's like the same thing with the Heresy speakers, you know. They're all cut 45 degree, and all the grains and veneers are matched, and that's how good woodwork is done. That's one of the things they look for. So this will conclude part 1 of 2 videos I'm going to do for you guys. And I'm going to show you the plinths that I just, you know, for the Allen Eaton 45s, as well as the plinth for the Thorns TD165 that I have. So hope this part 1 has been helpful.